Hello, and welcome to another showcase interview. I am so glad to be back. It has been a while. I am now officially able to get back into doing one of the most amazing things that I like to do, which is showcasing the members of this community so that you get to know each other, you get to see the face, you get to hear the voice, you get to hear the story. And that is my mission for this group, to empower each other, to learn about each other, to learn from each other, and to support each other. So today we have the pleasure of meeting Miss Rivkah Sherr. She's a community builder at Gluten Free Lifestyle and Support and a fertility advocate community builder at Fertility Support with Rivkah. I've had the pleasure of knowing her through Facebook back in 2021, and we fell off each other's radar until last November 2022. She reached out to me and we started building our connection from there. And I'm so happy that she did. It was absolutely one of the best DM conversations through voice notes that I've had in a long time. We were really honest, vulnerable about our journeys in the short time we spoke. She has a huge mission to change the world through the communities that she's running, as well as other groups that she's supporting. What I love is that when she shared her story with me, she said something that stuck with me in a good way, and that was this: if you want to help and save the world, you have to save yourself first. So important. With this thinking, she understands and has embraced that self love is a lifestyle choice meant to support her so that she can live her best life. Each day, she makes sure that she does the work to support her self care so that she can show up as the best version of herself for her family and for her business. I'm excited that she's agreed to be showcased this week in our group and has carved out some time to share her story. And I can't wait for you to meet this amazing mompreneur. So today, as I said, we're chatting with Rivkah. So let's get started. Welcome. Good morning, Rivkah. It's so lovely to have you on today.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, that was a great intro. Really love it. I appreciate
Well,
that.
yeah,
Yes,
I am
yes.
so excited to have you on here. Now,
Great.
I like to just start us off with just some really super chill, easy, just getting to know you questions, just to kind of break the ice so that then we can start talking about, getting a little bit more deeper into your story. So, just five questions. I promise you they're not hard. They're not meant to hurt you. They're just meant to like break the ice. So, if you're ready, we'll begin.
Yes, yes, let's do it.
Okay, so this is one of the questions I usually ask everyone, and it's a simple question of describing yourself using three words.
Describe myself 3 words. Determined, um, passionate, and resourceful. Oh, those are good three
Yeah,
words. Yes.
and those are great words too.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So as you look back over the last 12 months, back through 2022, what is something that's happened for you that's cause for celebration?
Wow. Lots of things, developing myself on my own personal journey, digging out of a lot of life circumstances that um, that I was in, still, working on it. And one of the biggest ones is really facilitating and growing and supporting this group that I created from scratch. That's a whole story in and of itself. And now we are up to 62,400 people. We still have many people joining every day, and we are taking active steps to bring it to next level, what I call next level, meaning, you know, um, support and services and all kinds of good things to really help the people that are in there that, want to get to their optimal health goals. Yes.
Yeah, I love that too. Yeah, quite the community, and we're going to talk about that.
Yes.
Um, what would you say has been your greatest accomplishment in your life? I mean, it could be that you're growing this community.
The greatest accomplishment of my life. I think really like digging myself out and getting myself to a better place despite many, many obstacles that I faced. I think that's really the biggest accomplishment. And I am looking forward to getting out of, getting out of like survival and getting into, a better thriving space. but I think tenacity and determination really got me through a lot. It's been a road. It's been sometimes a very hard road, but I think that's the biggest thing that I've accomplished, that I'm still here. And then I support many people, and also, support many people in my personal life. So I think that's the biggest thing that I've done. Yeah, that I'm still here. Yep. And I made
Excellent.
it, and I've
Yeah.
overcome. Yes.
Yes, exactly. One day at a
Yeah.
time, right?
Yes. Yes.
What would you say has been your greatest lesson that you've learned?
The greatest lesson that I've learned, that you have to like really do it for yourself, and you really have to empower yourself, and really need to put a lot of boundaries and really invest in yourself. There's a lot of more pieces to it, but um, you have to like put yourself in a place to believe in yourself, that you can do it, that you could get there, because really at the end of the day, that's who you have yourself. And being true to yourself and your values to get yourself to that place that you really want to get to. That's what I've learned. There was lots of things that were told to me, dictated to me my whole life journey, under other people's control, auspices, or whatever you want to call it. And you sort of really, it's a journey of like figuring out and doing for yourself, because that's really what's going to get you there. And these things, people say they happen for a reason and all that kind of stuff. Sometimes you see it, sometimes you don't yet. But that's the lesson that I've learned, that you really, like, you can rely on yourself to get yourself to those other places, and that it is possible. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I love that. So, yeah, no, I love that. And the last question is, what's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Best piece of advice. Well, these seem simple. They're hard. What's the best piece of advice that I've received? Oh, that, like, things that you're trying to figure out. It took you many, many years to get there. Sort of sometimes to undo them, you have to give yourself time and space to undo them, because hopefully it won't take as long. But it took a long time to get to that place. So you have to give yourself that time and space to allow yourself to like heal from that, or to rebuild. Um, in order to get there, and you have to like see that perspective. And that's something that really like stuck with me, and like I take with me every day, even when we go down rabbit holes. But yeah. Yes.
Yeah. No,
Yes.
and that's true, right? And I
Yeah.
appreciate that you openly, answered the questions with, being able to just share from your heart. That's what this is about. It's not meant
Yeah.
to be a hard
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
series of questions. It's just, opening up and allowing yourself to just kind of feel at ease without getting into the conversation. So thank you.
Yes. Yes.
So a couple of things I'd like to touch on with you are, of course, getting to know you, because I love your story. I've had the pleasure of hearing it more than one time, which I think is amazing. And of course, what you're doing today and how you serve your community, especially this one on Facebook, which is, like you said, over 63,000 members strong. That's impressive.
Yes. Yes.
And especially when we start, diving into like what's next, and what you've been doing with this community, especially as a solopreneur in this space.
Yes.
And what you do is really needed. It's important.
Yes.
So let's begin. Let's start at the beginning. Like, tell us who you are, your journey through your life, your experiences from growing up to your life goals, and what's brought you to where you are today, and then what
Yeah.
you're doing with the unique gifts that you have.
Yes. Okay. Wow. That could be a long story, but
That's okay.
we'll put in a few. So basically, I grew up in like sort of, well, in technically in a religious environment. My parents, I grew up Jewish. My parents became religious, and we grew up, pretty strict. And this is what we were expected to do, and how we were expected to be. And I always pretty much towed the line. But it came to like this whole marriage thing, and for many reasons, we weren't on the socioeconomic level. We didn't know really even who we were, but this is like your whole mission in life. And I was like, this doesn't quite work for me. And I knew I had to leave, and it was very, very hard. But that was the first thing that I did, that I said, I have to lead a self-determined life. And that's the first thing that I did. I left my community of origin. And for me, it was always about, helping myself and helping others. So I became involved in an organization called Footsteps, and, that I'm still involved with till today. And that was like the beginning of the journey of, leaving. I had a very tumultuous childhood, which was not really stable. I'm the oldest of 9 children. There was a lot of chaos. I had a brother that died of cancer. There was just like a lot of things going on, and the whole shape of things, I was just like, sort of like left, like you're sort of left to your own devices. And there was challenges that I had. I didn't know how to navigate them. I didn't really have, the ways how. I only realized this years later. So, you're not prepared for the real world. So I was thrown into what you call the real world, and I sort of had to figure it out. I got all different kinds of jobs, and then I met my ex-husband. And because we grew up in chaos, I take, like I look at this and like, they're life lessons, but I basically was attracted to somebody that was not healthy or good for me. And I stayed in that relationship for a very long time, because I was afraid to get out. I was afraid, how am I going to survive? And it's sort of like a lot of those things came to fruition. But on the road of that, I went through infertility. And that was like a big thing that happened. And I went through 5 years of treatment. I did 6 IVFs. I had my son. And then after that, the marriage totally just fell apart. And, I had to sort of figure out, how am I going to, survive on my own. So when I was going through that, I also did a lot of advocacy work. I was really, and the irony was always that I did it in the religious community, because I felt like I'm very connected still to my community, even though I don't live that lifestyle. I'm still very connected. I consider myself like spiritual and traditional. I always say I'm equal opportunity spiritualist. And I did a lot of work. I did a lot of research. I did counseling. I did advocacy, especially in that world where, everything is much more undercover. And I really felt very strongly about it. And I still do, even though I don't exactly do that actively right now, because right now my main goal is the group. But that's something I really felt very strongly about. And I have this dream one day, when I have like my own foundation, I'm going to do all these things, this and all the other things that I would love to do, And down the road, I found out a lot of things about myself, like, that I was like neurodiverse, which I guess I sort of always knew, but there was a lot of other things that came with it. And, I had to go out there in the real world, and like, everybody's like, you have to get a job. And this was before COVID. And I was like, it was bad. I was like, no jobs. I cannot do a job. It was bad. I was like, can't do this. So this group I started for a friend in 2017, a girl that I went to school with. She was celiac. I used to send her information, recipes. And, I like Facebook. I'm very social. I'm very out there. I'm very good at I'm a people person. And I'm like, I'm going to just put it in this group. And the minute I did that without any intention or whatever, it just grew an algorithm, and it kept on growing. And, you're basically, a long time went by, and it kept growing. And I'm like, there has to be something in here, and there has to be something that we could do. And meanwhile, I grew it by myself, and I realized this is a real issue. People have real concerns. Like, this is a real thing. And I did relate to a lot of parts of it, because like we say, the avatar is 92% women, 36 to 44 mostly. But people of, I always say in our box, I'm 47 with a 7-year-old, but they're either taking care of themselves or they're taking care of somebody else. And this is really, a serious thing. But then it became like this big thing that was like very overwhelming, because I learned many things. I was never a community manager. And now I'm like everything. And I'm holding this huge ship, of like, you're the policeman, you're the fire chief, you're the principal, you're doing everything. And I'm like, how do people do these things? So for like already like a year or two, I've been looking, and I guess I'm happy to say that I signed I've tried a few partners. I've signed with a new company yesterday. So this is like big news. And I'm hopeful. I always say I'm cautiously optimistic because I've tried many times. But basically, what I was looking for, what I am looking for, is to bring the other side of this community to a place where it's sustainable, where, everything takes time and money. It needs time and money to run. There are many people that want to collaborate. I am not like this. I get friended and requested every day. I'm not the coach. I'm the community manager. I'm the community facilitator. I'm the community cultivator. This is not my area of expertise, but I bring the people together, and that's why this will be a collaboration. And my idea is that I will do well, the people I bring in will do well, and the people in there will get what they are looking for. And for me, this is um, a good project all around. And this is not the only project I want to do, but this is right now the focus of what I'm trying to do and get off the ground, because I built this and I feel, even though like on my own, I feel the responsibility, to bring that out there and to help those people. Every day by default, I do help these people, but I don't think people really understand on the other side what that takes. This is a full-time job, plus this is a 24/7 job. And it just has to be put in a place where it's, sustainable. So that's what I'm looking to do. And then I'm looking, like what I say, to take it, to next levels, to incorporate different things, to bring in people with services and products, to service those people, to make it a fun place where a lot of people come in. This is the beginning, and what do we do? And we're overwhelmed. This is the end of our life. We can't eat anything. We can't eat anymore. And I'm like, there's ways. And I understand the health journey. I'm on my own health journey. That's a whole, story in and of itself. I had COVID. It was really bad. And after that, I decided I really have to take my health in check, because I have people relying on me. I have my son, my sister lives with me. I'm head of household, I'm by myself. And also like the mental health. And that has been, there's a lot of struggles in that. I mean, I don't know if I've ever, I've said it probably to different people, but I'm open pretty much about everything. But I've had a lot of, it's a struggle, like I grew up where it was very about the group, not about the individual. I was in a relationship that really put me down. There was a lot of things that put me down. So you have to really dig yourself out of that, of I'm worthy, I'm enough, I could do it. And that's a struggle really for me a lot every single day, of like, why can't I make this happen? Why can't I do it? Why isn't it this way? Why isn't it that way? So like on those levels, I really relate. I might not be exactly, where they are. Of course, it's always healthier to like, eat a certain way. I might not be exactly, but there's still many things and many ways that I do relate. And in this space, I think we're sort of in it all together. And that's really what I want to do. And that's, this is like I say, my self-determination, self-determined life, chapter 2. The first one was like leaving my community of origin. I guess there's many chapters, leaving the relationship that wasn't good. But this is also like, how do I want my life to look on all the levels? What do I really want to do, in the second half of life? And how do I really want to do it? And what do I want it to look like? And I'm very specific. And there's lots of naysayers. People call me entrepreneur. People call me all kinds of things, And I'm like, I'm going here. I've had hundreds of conversations with coaches, hundreds of conversations with all different people online. I'm like, this is where I am. This is where I want to go. I know it's like a unicorn, but this is where I'm going. Who's coming with me? Because I think on the other side, there's a huge opportunity there. So there is, and I'm bootstrapping it with no money, right? Let's just say it like it is, right? But I do believe that this has the power to do a lot on many levels. And I'm like, whoever's coming with me will do great. And the rest, it's okay. So there's a lot of also, I'm a new entrepreneur. There's a lot of personal stuff and personal growth that you have to go through, which I never really even knew. And I'm very open to that. I want to live my best life. I want to do my best work. I want to be there and influence. I want to come from a place, an empowered place right now. Let's say the truth. A lot of things I do are like very fear-based. I'm afraid of this. I'm afraid of that. that, and I want to get to that next place. And it depends on the day, but I think there's opportunity. I think there's ways to go. I think there's, I look at this is my first project. I want to do more. I want to be in a place where I get to choose exactly what I do and how I do it. And that's my goal. And I keep going, and it's a long journey. And there's many people have helped me along the way, and I totally appreciate that. And I keep going every day, and I'm like, this is what I'm doing. Yes, right now, all these coaches are like, we need 100K months. Well, you know what? I lived 3 times below the poverty level last year, and I survived. How about that? Let's put that out there. Let's see what people say. But I know I have a little bit, there's money, there's money wounds, and there's, a little bit of like the lack. And, I know all this, I've studied enough to understand. But at the end of the day, I'm like, I know where I want to go. I know where I want to be. And even just sometimes just like surviving on the bottom is a skill in and of itself. And you have to pat yourself on the back for that too. So I'm going forward. I'm, have to trust myself that I'm going to find the right ways, choose the right people, get this to where I want it to go, live the life that I want, provide how I want to, find a life partner, because I would love to, because I never really had one, but at the end of the day, I have to trust myself enough. And some days you're up, some days, but every day I'm like, we're back on the horse, we're digging through, and we're going. So that's the long answer. Well, it could be longer, but yeah.
No, but
So
I love that. And like I said, we've talked a couple of times, and you've shared more today with me that I'm just learning. But I think
yeah,
what I love is that, a lot of the time, you're right. People look at us and we're starting these online businesses, and as women who have, especially because you have this powerful community that you've created, and it started because you wanted to help someone, a friend of yours, based on a need, and you
yes,
found that need, and you created this community to start filling that need, and all of a sudden you started attracting other people like that who are saying, like, I'm looking for this too. And so I think that's great. Now, there's a lot of people out there saying, yeah, you can have these types of months, and that's great. But most women that we know, well, at least most women that I know that are heart centered, although, yes, we get into business to make a living, that wasn't the driving factor behind us doing what we do.
yeah,
So it's about how can we help someone change their life
yeah,
profoundly. And the
yes,
money, yes, that's great because that helps us to help other people. But when we look at it from that perspective, that makes all the difference in the world. And I think what you're
yeah,
building is great. And I'm really excited to see it now, especially because we've talked about you getting that boost of help, that to run such
yes.
a large community. You've done this. By the way, ladies, I don't know if you've known this, but she's been doing this on her own. This
Yes.
community is 63,000 strong, and she's been managing this on her own. I don't know, but that's like superwoman to me. And I think it's amazing that you've done this. So, no,
Yes,
congratulations,
thanks.
because it really is, it's not no small feat.
Yeah,
And I think too is like finding the right people to surround yourself with, right? You said
yes,
you want to bring people into the community that are going to pour into those who are there, who are hungry, who are looking for whatever
yes,
kind of knowledge that they're looking for. And you said, I'm not the expert to
yeah,
everything, but I can provide you with people who are, and
yes,
creating that space for them to come in and be able to benefit from it. But again, you also are, it's important to you to bring the right like-minded individuals into
yes,
that space, because it is not about them creating wealth, it's about them creating a wealth of information, of strategies, of tools, of tips, of techniques that will help transform the women and men in your community, their lives. And
yes,
so bringing the right people in is just equally important to you as well. So I love that. I think that
yes,
is really important, and I to like showcase that part. So I believe that you are a leader. I do. I think that you are a leader. I do. And so I
yes,
wanted to ask you,
yeah.
with that being said, what does
Yeah.
being a leader mean to you?
I think being a leader means like, for me in my life, it meant like, like you said, like seeing where there were needs and really like the human component, when I was, and I'm still, in that first organization that I was part of, it was like, I remember there was this person that I spoke to, like it sounds funny, but they were like deep undercover, and it was months and months of talking to them and convincing them that they can come out and they could do things and they could live their life differently. It's really about like getting in there and helping the individual and you know believe that they could get to that place that they were striving for. The same thing like with the infertility, the same thing with this is that there's a challenge, there's a need, there's something that needs to be done, there's a transformation, I guess you could say, that has to happen. And like getting that energy and that strength to do it and giving that to others, doing it for yourself and then also giving it to others and creating those kind of communities and spaces where they can do that is really of utmost importance. Because this is a big experience, this is a human experience. And um there's many things in the world. I watch a lot of different things. I absorb a lot of information, but basically going out there and providing solutions, providing those spaces, doing the work that people get to those places. That this is what leadership and saving the world is all about. A lot of people call in Hebrew they say like tikkun olam, fixing the world and everything. And I say first, like I said, I still say first, you work and you fix yourself. You don't have to be perfect because nobody is. It's always a work in progress. But then you go out there and you impact and save, the world by doing this on an individual basis in different ways, in different, you know, subject matter. But that's how you do it, and you provide those spaces, and you take charge, and you're like, what are we going to do? How are we going to affect change? How are we going to do that? And that's what you go out there and do. So to me, that's what leadership really means. Like you're down there on the ground level really doing it. You're not like someone up there that's just like saying things, and there's place for that too. But really being out there and really creating the thing where it's practically happening for people and spending that time with those people, and giving that encouragement and helping them help themselves. That's one of the biggest things that you have to do, because you can't like dig somebody out and they're in the same hole. You have to give them the tools to help them get there on their own, and then they could pay it forward too, hopefully. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I love that, and I think that's a great answer. And a lot of, and I only reason why I ask that is I truly believe that, okay, again, that leadership comes in different forms.
Yeah.
And leader, I believe for me, being a leader has been uh, stepping into roles that not necessarily were roles that I felt necessarily that I was supposed to step into, but being
Yeah.
open to and accepting that if someone's inviting me into a room to speak my truth, to help someone else, feel confident around a specific area of their life, to whatever that looks like, is leadership for me has just been stepping into those rooms and allowing myself to serve however you know it meets the needs of the person or people in front of
Yes.
me. And
Yeah.
so I love that. um, Before we go, I was wondering
Okay.
what kind of, I know that I asked you like what's the best piece of advice that you've ever received, but if there is advice that you could give to women in this community, women in general, especially because we are still such a minority when it comes to having our own businesses, to feeling confident, to being heard, to getting funding for our businesses. Um, what kind of advice or what piece of advice could you give to women who, especially like yourself, you've gone through the ups and downs, you've created this community that took off like wildfire, and now you've recognized, okay, I can fill a need, I found a way to fill a need, now what's next? What could you give if someone's in similar to you or is thinking of, because there's a lot of women in this community who's starting out, who are maybe thinking about doing something else. what could you say to them to help them? I don't know necessarily a shortcut, but could help
Yeah.
them as they decide what's
Yeah.
next for their life.
I don't know. Well, I could tell you I don't know if there are any shortcuts. The way I did it is it was a little bit scary, but I think gather the resources. Just keep on going and keep on trying. I have it. I can't say I've totally like figured it out and I totally did it like 100% the right way. Yes, if you have something that's backing you up, people always say like, do that and then do it on the side. For me, that wasn't really like my situation. I'm still not quite on the other side, but I keep going. Like, I guess the bottom line is like, keep believing in your vision and keep going after it, like, I don't know what the end result exactly is going to be. At the end of the day, though, I do help many people on whichever level I'm doing it, because by default, that's what I'm doing, but basically you have to keep believing in your vision and keep going, and then eventually you connect and you connect with the right people, and you sort of figure out and you get it done. And I would say, like, for me, it like came much late, a little bit later in life. I would say, like, the way the world is right now, like, do it from day one. Don't I mean, I don't know if these are the best, whatever, but don't rely on a man. That did not work. My friend's like, yeah, you could just find a new one. I'm like, no. One day, but no, that's not how it works. But basically, like, really believe in yourself, believe in your vision, and keep going. I mean, this is what I have to tell myself many days, and I cry to people, and they're like, you can do it. But it is not the easy way. I don't know if there are any shortcuts. I'd love to know, but it's like you have to work on yourself, build yourself, believe in yourself, believe in the vision, and say, like, I'm worthy enough, I'm good enough, I'm doing good every day. Like, some days when I'm just like, the truth, when I'm like, oh my gosh, how's this gonna go? Like, some days I would just go in the group and say, how has this group helped you? And people would say, it saved my life. And I'm like, okay, I guess I could go another day. But truth, but basically, like, yeah, believing in yourself, believing in the vision, and like, keep trucking, a community, and having support. Community is very important, friends. I'm part of a community, there's, it's a religious Jewish community, but like the rabbi and the rabbi's wife, they're like, knowing, there's always people like backing you up. People that I went to school with, like this girl in that whole class, like, when I went through hard things, I know they're there, like, in the background. Other people that always, have an end, always believed in me. Surrounding yourself with those people, the more support you could get, because it takes, really, for all these things, it takes literally a village of people to get you there, to get you through it, to write out all the stuff. I have a friend that I speak to a lot. We have a lot of similar experiences, and I'm like, this chapter is like, I know it sounds a little extreme, but it's like between the landmines, the trauma between because one day we're like, we're working on this, we're doing this, and then the next day we're like, oh my god, the trauma resurfaced, what are we gonna do? So it's like, it's a healing journey, and it's like, you want to take a vacation, but you have to keep going. But yeah, surrounding yourself basically with community, with people that believe in you, with you, putting that stuff into you, like, to combat all those other things that you're dealing with, and interacting with the people, that you already have and that you already do with. For me, the most fun part of my job is like the people, and I'm like, this is really where it's at. Like, people make the world, like, at least for me. So, relying on that and working on that and continually seeing the vision and getting towards the goal. So yeah.
Yeah,
Yep,
no, I
yep.
love your answer. I think that's beautiful. Well, thank you
Yeah.
so much for being here with us
Anytime.
today. I really appreciate it that you got to share
Yes.
the story, because I've been wanting to share your story
Yes.
with the community for a little while, and so
Yes.
now we were able to make it happen. Ladies, I hope that you found value and that you got to know Rivkah a little bit more. Definitely, I will be getting all of her information and putting
Yes.
it in with the video in the group, so that if you want to get a hold of her, you have ways
Yes.
to get in contact.
Yes. I
Thank you
am.
again so much.
Thanks so much.
I
Thank
appreciate
you.
you. Thank you.
Yes. Thanks so much. And we will be talking again soon. Thanks.
Yep.
We'll
Thank
see you
you.
soon. Bye.
Bye.